Alright, I went ahead and made a quick little picture of what's going on here. I noticed on Google when I typed in differentiation, I found a picture of inhomogeneous differentiation and homogeneous differentiation. Meaning, homogeneous is it's all the same composition, and then the differentiation starts after all the material has collected. So you sort it out after it's all collected. So it differentiates itself after it's formed. Meaning it's a lot different than inhomogeneous differentiation. Meaning you don't sort it out after the object's formed. The sorting happens as it forms. So you start with a central core, which deposits first, and then you layer it. A good analogy for that would be layering a pearl. Something enters into the oyster puts up its defenses and starts layering it to shield it from the organic material from inside the oyster, to protect it, in other words, to make it nice and smooth to where it doesn't damage it. You can accept this or this perfectly fine. But this obviously makes more sense than this. As well, the diagram online, it neglects some very important concepts that need to be addressed. For instance, they don't have any pressure when they differentiate a planetary body. If this is supposed to be an Earth, and you form the core first, this is vacuum out here, okay? Where is all this pressure? How do you pressurize that core to form it? There's no pressure out here, okay? Where's the pressure at? Also, where is the heat? Where is the heat source? Vacuum is cold. There's very little matter in there. So what is heating up this iron to clump it together? What's heating all this up to make magma? Where is this heat source coming from? Magic? God's holding an invisible blowtorch to it, heating it up as it melts it together into a little ball? There's nothing out here. It's vacuum. That's another huge problem. As well, there's no charged material. Okay? Where is all this? Where's all the charge coming from? Okay? The sun is supposedly forming on its own. It can't supply any charge. There's nothing freaking here. It's just a ball forming in outer space from nothing, essentially. Where is the process of electrodeposition? Isn't even mentioned. It's like they don't even care about how the dang Earth forms, or a core of a planetary body. They just completely ignore it. And the most damning of this realization is, where is the gravitating body? How does this form when there's nothing to pull it together? How does this material form if there's nothing to pull it together? This core, there's nothing there. There's no gravitational field there because there's no gravitating object. And just so everybody gets their money's worth for this presentation, I can solve all this. It's easy to solve. If you took a note from the right-hand side of this presentation, it's the star that provides all those concepts. The pressure is provided by the star. The star has a lot of pressure as it gravitationally collapses. The heat source, guess what? Stars are hot. Ooh, look at that. Charged material. Star has a whole hell of a lot of charged material. the electrode deposition, where all the charged material will collect in the center and electrically deposit. You can electroplate a core that way. And the gravitating body issue is also solved. The star is the gravitating body. In other words, to fix the establishment's grave mistakes, what we need to do is place this process not in vacuum, where there's no pressure, but inside of a star. The star is what forms the planetary object, and the star is what begins the process of forming a differentiated body. And you say, oh, well, the star's too big, it can't do that. No, the star will lose mass to solar wind, solar flares, coronal mass ejections, and radiation, meaning this shell will gravitationally collapse, and it will cool, and all the material that's left over will deposit into the interior, and what you'll have left over is a tiny little ball called a planet, with life on it, oceans, and politicians.